Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Terratech with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to a follow-up video for yesterday's video in which we were taking a look at the Dynamo generator. Now, honestly, after watching back the video, looking at the comments, I feel like I didn't do the Dynamo generator the true service it deserves, because honestly, I didn't test out absolutely everything, so today, we're going to see if we can make something a little bit more functional, something we can use in the campaign, and actually get some a little bit of an exploit out of the generator itself, because I've been told you can have the generator functioning as long as the wheels are touching something, and I actually did a quick test with this, and yep, that does work, and that includes other techs, which means as long as it's touching, let's say, a flyer, you can have a secondary tech within the flyer constantly generating power, even if the wheels are not moving, because all the game checks is if the generator itself is going above a certain speed. So, that's what we're going to be doing today, trying to build a flyer with a generator inside of it, but also, I want to make a static generator using the Dynamo, and how I'm going to do this is by using things like the medium axle, the bearings, stuff like that, so that we have an anchored tech, then a secondary tech on the anchored tech, which is attached to the axle, going round and round in circles, trying to produce power. I don't know if this will work, but if it does, it will be amazing. Now, most of these ideas come from the comment section itself, so thank you so much for all the ideas, and yeah, I did need to test out more stuff, I fully agree. So, let's quickly build an anchor vehicle, and then we'll see if this thing works. If it does, already I have so many ideas for this. A bit overkill, I admit, but still, we're going to see if this thing will function. So then, we need a secondary tech. And on this tech, what we're going to need is to connect it to the medium axle itself, and then it needs to have at least one wheel touching the ground. Or I imagine it could actually just have a wheel touching the main tech itself as it spins. But for now, we'll go with the easier option, and we'll check out other weird things later. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit nauseous with this. Oh, please, let me stop, thank you. Oh, that's awesome. You know, I really think this is going to work, and if it does, I am so happy. It actually works. Now, here's the thing. I wanted to build this on the other side as well, so it looks a bit more symmetrical and looks way better, but here's the thing. By doing that, it actually balances where the vehicle's location is, so when it's moving like this, it doesn't actually count as moving, because it's just going around one spot too fast, with the vehicle always taking up that one spot. So it needs to be lopsided, which makes it a little bit more unstable, but at the same time, there we go, a full charge of power. And that will be doing that all day, and more importantly, all night long. And now it can charge up and actually charge up its own batteries without feeding the main core. That is phenomenal. But I want a larger version of this, a much larger version of this. We're going to scale this up and see if we can make it stable and produce way more power than it was just producing. Wish me luck. Ignoring the horrible noise it makes, that's actually pretty stable. It's not the quickest generator in the world, but that is 3 Hawkeye batteries being filled at an okay pace. But we can do better than that. It's now going at 50, which means we're close to the cut-off switch where the maximum speed to Dynamo generation is kind of hit, and yeah, that's great. We now have 5 batteries, and it's being charged about as fast as our previous vehicles when they were moving in a straight line, but once again, it's static, and we'll do this forever. There we are, maximum charge. That is fantastic. That noise is annoying, I have to say, but still. A little power pylon. And there it goes. And you can keep on building this up and up and up, I assume forever, as long as the wheels don't glitch out. It's just a shame I can't build it equally on both sides, because like I said before, it counts the vehicle as not moving if you do that. Which makes sense, since you're kind of just moving in its own hitbox. With this, you're tricking it because it's moving around the outside like this. So I've left this running for the last few minutes, and it seems like it's more than capable of fully charging all of this. So this is 8 Hawkeye repair bubbles, 4 Hawkeye shields, 4 GSO shields. So just this one design, even though it's really inefficient, could easily charge up several of our defense turrets. Just have this in the middle of the Spire of Power. I am so happy this works. What a fun way to generate power rather than just solar power. So with that then, let's try out a few other things. What I want to try out now is if we can build a flyer, or at least redo one of our flyers, so that we can generate power on the go. Actually, no, there's something else I want to try. Let's spawn in one of our tanks. I want to see if we can build a smaller version of this, either inside the tank or on top of the tank with the wheels touching the tank itself. That will prove we can build it inside, but for ease of just use right now, we can just build it on top. So we have one of these on the go, always charging up the tank, even in combat. Of course, it won't be as large as this, but you get the idea. Let's try and build an absolutely tiny one, because I think that would be adorable as well. So, how are we going to do this? Let's have a single block for a second. Let's just add... yeah, just a single GSO block, so we can see what we're doing as it will contrast the Hawkeye. Then with experimental, let's go with the small axle. And then that's going to be it, in order to actually hold the Dynamo. Then we're going to have a secondary tech, which goes on the side of it and goes round and round with the wheel touching the main tech itself. Hopefully that will constantly produce a tiny little bit of power. It might need to be a bit larger than this because we also need to fit a wireless charger and a battery on it, but still, in fact, let's move these away so we don't just transfer the power back and forth. Weirdly, one of the major problems, outside of me accidentally tearing apart the tech, is just the size of the wheels. I can't find a wheel which fits perfectly without causing this thing to glitch out. As you can see, that's a problem, as it in fact made us let go of the axle. That's why I'm using those horrible wheels over there, because it just so happened to fit on the bottom. So how are we going to solve that? Well, honestly, just testing out different blocks eventually, I'm sure, would find the right thing. I completely forgot we have the inverted axles as well, so we can use those. Let's ignore the fact it's shaking right now. Normally, until a build is finished, especially with a tech touching a tech, it's glitchy to say the least. But we're almost fast enough. In fact, we are fast enough right now. We should be able to produce some power. That's just with a single wheel. We can easily upgrade that in a second, but for now, let's just make sure it works. I'm almost certain the wheels touching the tech do, in fact, function, but let's just double-check this. Yep, there we go. It is indeed producing power. And now the tank can go about its business and occasionally throw items on the floor. And it's very slowly producing power, about the same speed as our slowest vehicles in the previous test, in the previous video. Oh, whoops-a-daisy, now we're getting loads of power. So that should charge up a single GSO battery in just over 2 minutes. It's not much, but again, baby steps. This just proves it can work, and you can easily fit a better designed version of this inside of another vehicle. Or just have it on top like this, because it looks cool. I mean, if you actually make it look nice. But still, look at that! I love things like this! Oh, this is the best item in the game. I love it. Absolutely love it. Wait. And apparently we leave tracks in the air because why not? That is phenomenal. Look at that. You can just about see it. Maybe not in the video. There's a very faint squiggle behind us. We're leaving an air dirt trail. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. Only final thing to do then is see if we can make a flyer. Now with the flyer, thankfully, we're going to be moving anyway, so we don't need it to have its own movement. And in fact, you could argue, why not just put these dynamos on the tank itself? Well, it's because you have automatic movement now, so when you're stationary, you're still being charged. Let's say we're in a fight, we're still being charged up. Now when we're moving, yeah, we may as well just have the dynamos on the tank. We're going 50, that's fine. Oh, I'm so pleased with that. I am so blummin' pleased. Okay, let's make a flyer. Let's make it hold just a basic tech with a battery and everything else, and let's see if it'll charge us as we fly. You know what I haven't used in ages? This tech. Yeah, that's pretty perfect. It's a transport vehicle. I mean, if we're going to put a tech in a tech, we may as well have our transport craft. Let's move this somewhere a bit safer, rip out some of its innards, and then just throw a tech or two inside and see if we get any charge. I don't think this thing actually has any battery power, does it? No. It's been so long since I've made this. I wonder if it still flies. There have been quite a few changes to flying since I've used this. Well, if it doesn't fly... If it doesn't fly, it's just going to be annoying if it doesn't fly. Just built a really simple little cage here. So, an explosive bolt. Then we'll add loads of wheels, so it's always touching the floor of the cage. Now, normally you'd build this inside or try to build it a bit more secure, but since we want to see what's going on, we're just going to build it really weirdly in this little... I call it a cage. It's basically a basket. We're holding it in a basket, okay? Just to make sure it doesn't break apart straight away. Then we want some power, just so we can see it charge up after this gets fully charged, if it ever does. 2 wireless chargers, and finally, we add the Dynamo generators themselves. There we go. So it's just sitting there inside of the tech. I hope this is going to work. Oh, yep, I just saw power. It's hard to see, but yep, our power is now being charged up. This does indeed function. Well, would you look at that? So you can indeed have unlimited flying power. You just need to have a tech within your tech. This thing flies better than it used to. Though to be fair, I have just stripped out half of its mechanical gubbins, so perhaps that's why. Yep, there we are. We are slowly charging up, and it's all because the vehicle inside is touching the plane with its wheels, which means it counts as being grounded, because I love you, Terratech. And then it counts it as moving because we're moving. It doesn't matter if the wheels themselves are moving or not. And now if I do this, I should be able to drop it. Oh, this plane is not designed for this. Nope, that's going to stall. Yep, this plane still isn't the best flyer in the world, but it can carry a lot of stuff, and that's the whole point. It used to carry resources, for fun. Can I get this thing to drop at all? No, it is really wedged in there. That is actually remarkably secure, but I imagine on a much faster, much smaller plane it would be a lot worse. And that is that then. We can have unlimited power with a stationary dynamo generator, which is phenomenal. And our planes are also capable of getting power from this thing. Now, one last thing a lot of people have been asking me to check is, does indeed the type of wheel affect power? Now, earlier I said no, but now I think about it, I haven't really tested that out properly. So, I'm going to make 2 vehicles, both with varying wheels, maybe one with Geocorp, one with Hawkeye, or Geocorp and GSO, which both go about the same speed, and we're going to see if there's any difference with how fast that thing's powers up. I am so happy. Okay, no, we cannot return to checkpoint in this vehicle. It will break everything. So I'm afraid, Mr. Plane, you are staying here. I am returning home. Wow, yeah, that would have completely broke it, and this is like a trap. Ah, freedom! Ow! It's also a mode of transport, apparently, because that kind of made us fly. Oh, look, there's the tank still charging up. Probably still nowhere near fully charged. Oh, this is the old version with the solar panels and without the extra weapons. I didn't even realise. I have 2 versions of this. How charged up are we? Probably like nothing at all. Oh, yeah. Not even 1 bar yet. Though, is that off? We could have been trying to use our shields as well, to be fair. So we're just going to time it until the very first bar is filled, and we're going at about 35 miles per hour. That'll be the goal of all the different vehicles. This is going to take a long time, even with only 1 bar. This is why we're only doing 1 bar and not the full thing again. There we are. So I was a little bit slow there, but it was 27 seconds. Yep, that was 28 as well, by the looks of things. I'll just check the footage to make sure it's equal. Just done the same test with this vehicle, and once again it was somewhere between 27 and 28. And that was at 36, although we did get a slight speed boost at the start, which would explain why it could be closer to 27. Either way, yep, all three types of wheels seem to be about the same, at least in this test. If I am wrong, please tell me, but also have some proof of it. So do a few tests yourself, since I have heard some very mixed reports about this, but so far, I can't seem to see wheels being any major factor. Maybe they are a minor factor, and maybe with way more of the Dynamo generators it does add up, but yeah, if there is a difference, it's very, very minor. Also, I did some off-camera testing, and I can confirm the amount of wheels does not affect the amount of power generated. I tested with, I think, 30 of the hub wheels versus only a few of them, both of them going at the same speed, and they both came to the exact same time in order to fill a battery to its fullest. But I won't be repeating that because I am all out of time. Well, if you've enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, Terratech science is something you would like to see continued in the future. Today was really fun. I am so glad this functions, and we will definitely be using these in the campaign as soon as I get enough dynamos and other experimental parts. I may break the rule of buying no items in the campaign just so I can buy the experimental parts. Remember, I can't craft these. They're simply not craftable in any way since they're not within any of the regular corporations yet. Experimental is its own section, which is uncraftable. But once you get one of the items, they will rarely appear at trade stations. So tell me if you think that's a good idea. Should I break that rule or not? Because otherwise it's going to be a long time to get these functioning in the campaign. But to be fair, I have other stuff to build anyway in that time, and we can always marvel at its science. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Unlimited green power for everyone.